Okay, well, hi. Welcome to This Old Fag, episode 6. It's been a while. Happy New Year. Happy Groundhog's Day. Uh, and happy Valentine's Day. I don't really care that much about Valentine's Day, but Groundhog's Day is a little more important to me because it means spring is coming. And a bit of shout out to Staten Island. Staten Island Chuck has a much better prediction rate in terms of the weather than Puxatawny Phil. So good for us. And he says spring is coming, and I believe him because I see the daffodil buds up in my garden already. Uh, so yay, happy Valentine's Day. Speaking of Valentine's, uh, I don't have one, so if you want to, send me one, please feel free. No, I feel that in a show called This Old Fag, we need to discuss the Grammys a little bit. Not that I watched them at all, but I heard all about them, and I saw some clips and things. Stevie Wonder, wow, what a great little segment he gave everybody. But the talk in the marshes is about Madge, aka Madonna, um, and how she looked. Because let's face it, if you're a woman and you're in the public eye, people are going to, look at that and talk about it and chat about it and about it. Um, I'm gonna say right now, I have never been the biggest fan. Uh, Although I will admit, especially early on in her career, she knew how to write a pop song and she knew how to write a hook. Assuming that she's the one who wrote it, but her name is on it, so I assume that it was her. And credit to her, as somebody who has written songs, like My Man is a Nurse in Today's Navy, you want that catchy thing that's gonna, grab somebody's ear. And she was good at that. You know, whether she was rolling around on the floor in a bridal dress or just, commandeering, you know, house music and parties and voguing and all that stuff. Because leave it to white people to do that kind of thing. She kind of peaked then. In fact, I ran across an interesting little Facebook memory. I gotta admit, one of the things I like about Facebook is because it remembers things for me. And it was that, I had often said that after her halftime show, she should have just disappeared into a big puff of green smoke, and then she would reappear 25 years later, doing at Carnegie Hall, doing a medley of her, big hits, all with just a cello accompaniment. All right, but unfortunately, fame doesn't always treat everybody the same way, and she, like it or not, wants to be in the limelight, and she is in the limelight. And I'm sorry, she looked kind of weird, right? I mean, these are the last few things. Um, I think she's looking at it like a princess out of Dungeons and Dragons or something. Except she shouldn't be a princess; she should be the queen. And right? Yeah, yeah. And it's all like everything's very flat. And um, to quote or paraphrase a favorite of mine, Kathy Griffith, she's been to the dentist a little too much, and she may need to you know, think about that. Do you really need to go to the dentist that much? You know, look at um, Kim Hunter. She's 90. You might learn a lesson or two from somebody like that. Yeah. So, say what you will about her, or you can agree with me or not agree with me by all means, because it's Madonna, and who ultimately really cares, right? But meanwhile, back here in reality, and especially in New York State, we've got a whole new thing to talk about, and that is George Santos. Ah, Carnival Princess of Rio, who, we it's become a icon, I guess, or the byproduct of somebody like Trump, where their entire life is kind of a lie. And to be quite honest, I don't want to be associated him with in any way because I live in New York and I can't imagine why people voted for him, except for the fact that he lied to everybody. Um, and he's a horrible representative of the LGBTQ community because he seems to be, against any positive legislation, and is a typical kind of, well, log cabin Republican gay person who is obviously self-hating in some way. But the psychosis there is so deep. I mean, we've seen people who lie about stuff, but it's almost like raising it to an art form. There is a certain performative quality, as people would like to say in the left media, because uh, if you live as a character, you are the character, and I think he's sort of deluded himself a lot in that he has seen how other people have clearly gotten away with just saying stuff and not having to back it up. But unfortunately, they're calling him out because it's really kind of sad and really kind of sick. And um, it's but he's a really beautiful sort of reflective glass of what the Republican Party is these days, because the Republican Party, what is it? Is it anything? There's really kind of nothing there. All they do is hate people like me and others in my community of the LGBTQ community. Um, they don't have anything they really want to uh, that they can offer to us except hate. And what really disturbs me right now, which is, as has been reported a lot in the left media, is this idea that Social Security is um, an entitlement that needs to be phased out. Because, well, one, I'm on it, so I understand that, having put 27 years of work into the system, that I deserve some of my money back. Um, so I don't always feel like entitlement is quite the right term. It's you've paid into a system that's going to, provide you with funds later on, and that's what they do. It's not as they're entitled. I mean, we're entitled to it because, as somebody pointed out to me, it's been we've paid into it. That's our entitlement to it. Meanwhile, the government, as I believe, has even barred against those funds that, because people keep paying into it and paying into it. And what they're worrying about is one small little fund that the government runs that puts money into it, which, they don't want to, continue to do. And what they really want to do, especially the right in particular, but is to put the onus on you and me. Why haven't you saved enough? You should be thinking about this all the time. I sit at home, I watch TV a lot while I'm doing my artwork and things, and what I see constantly are ads about banks, uh, no fund banks, online banks, all these kind of banks that are going to help you with your credit report, because God knows you need to have a credit report in order to have a family, according to another ad. I can show you plenty of examples of people who don't have a great credit report who have families around here in my neighborhood. So that's a bunch of BS. But this kind of onus is that the onus is on you. Why haven't you contributed enough to your 401k? Why haven't you, yeah, or along those lines, and that the onus is on you. Why haven't you prepared enough for your old age? Getting older is something that's going to happen to everybody. Nobody's going to get away from it. And just because these old white men in Washington have a lot of money doesn't mean a bunch of old people have a lot of money just like them. In fact, it's just the opposite. A lot of us don't have a lot of money. And when they start talking about wanting to eliminate this and, Social Security uh, and the right is just, it's an example of how they want to privatize everything. Right? You should be able to invest your money any way that you want. But how do you know anybody's going to put that money aside? Social Security is a way of kind of making sure that, God knows for me, I have some money that's been put aside for later in my life. I don't agree that I should pay taxes on it again or now because it wasn't taxed before, but that's a totally other matter that I'll take up with the IRA one day after I make a lot of money. Or the IRS, not the IRA. But I see it more and more. It's always on these ads about. There's certainly a lot of. I watch tennis, so there's a lot of ad. That's a wealthy sport, so they're always talking about investments and investing and things. But even on other things, when you watch reruns of Friends on Nick at Night, you're going to see these ads for banks. They're online and they're going to help you and they're going to raise your rate and whatnot and making sure that you're saving some money and things like that. And it's great if people can do that, but not everybody can. And so I say to the right, hands off Social Security. You're a fool to think that the two or three people who are clapping at your meetings that I hear on these clips constantly on the leftist shows I listen to, they play this string of right-wing politicians talking about how they're going to eliminate this. And there's always two or three people clapping. You don't hear the room, but a couple do, and I think that's just because they're stupid. And they are. They're stupid to clap for something like that. And that's because that's what the American right wants. They want you to be stupid. They don't want you to have information. They don't want you to think, which is why they're always cutting back on education programs and feeding kids at school and anything that promotes education. All they care about is CRT, which is not taught in K through 12 classes. They like people dumb because then they can feed them misinformation through people like Rupert Murdoch and Elon Musk, who are traders, or traders in that kind of disinformation. They are traders in disinformation. I hate Rupert Murdoch. I've hated him since the 80s, and the New York Post's hatred of the gay community and sex clubs and baths and things like that that were actually promoting information about HIV and AIDS, but they just saw it as a place where it was going to be, contributing to the crisis where everyone was just like shaking in their boots at the time. So we see Rupert Murdoch, head of the Post, with Elon Musk, head of Twitter, who sits there and goes, "Oh, we need to bring back all these neo-fascist haters and anti-Semites because this is free speech." Whereas it's also a private company and nobody is guaranteed free speech on a private company. I think we've gone through this before with Twitter, with Facebook, with Instagram. You know, they're not public arenas. They're private corporations, and people have the right. The corporation has the right to censor people. And the fact that Elon Musk does not want to censor these people, like Ye and Fuentes, that little fascist bitch, just shows whose side he's really on when he's thinking about saying about how he's for free speech and for everybody's rights. Thank you. This was good. This was like a good episode of about 15 minutes, and I think I covered a lot of stuff I've been thinking about. Thank you for listening. I'm Ruben Sandwich, aka Jonathan Leiter, this old fag. Thank you for listening to me, and please share it if you've enjoyed it. Thanks.